Director Young, I'll have you right here. And then, Mike, yep, Mike, and your wife. I'm going to have you guys on this side.
Donna.
Yeah, he thought that Kathy was over
I
here.
know.
Yep, you're going to be right here.
Yeah, that's my sister.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Where do you want me?
Well, good morning. We're back here in Steinhatchee. You see behind me, they've gotten a lot of work done. It's really impressive to see what they've done in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. They did have some effects of Milton, but Helene was the real blockbuster, did an incredible amount of damage, and you're seeing real progress being a lot more to do, but there's real progress being made. It's such a beautiful day, and it shows you why people enjoy coming here, why they have such a great local fishing industry, and we want to be helpful with that from the state of Florida's perspective. I'm here with Executive Director of Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, Roger Young, Charlie and Danelle Norwood, owners of the Sea Hag Marina, Catherine and Ronald Beeran, owners of Hernando Beach Seafood Company, Mike Beeran, owner of Gulf Seafood Products, Tom Willits, owner of Kathy's Crab Shack in Steinhatchee, Martha Gaias, Southeast Fishery Director for the American Sports Fishing Association, and Trip Ochman, Director of Advocacy for the Coastal Conservation Commission. As we know, this area had Hurricane Idalia in 2023, Hurricane Debbie, Helene, and then even Milton did have impacts. So this is all within the last 14 or 15 months. And they basically had to just respond every time. Certainly, Helene was a massive impact on this area. Massive surge. It was a storm, Category 4. It kind of strengthened. You know, Milton was a very big storm. Fortunately, it did weaken as it went in, but this one was really a sight to behold. So it did a lot of damages to businesses, to homes. And this is something that is really impactful for this community, for people's lives, and for the state of Florida. As with past hurricanes, early surveys here have indicated damage to fisheries in these locations. Fishing vessels, gear, buildings are damaged. Coastal seafood storage items like ice machines, commercial coolers, and warehouses are damaged. Retail wholesale products and cold storage, of course, lost to spoilage, unfortunately. Dockage and boat ramps damaged. Debris blocked waterways, preventing safe navigation for fishermen, and significant aquaculture infrastructure rendered unusable. So in some of these things, like these guys know because they do this every day, it's hard to even know that there's debris in there if you just look at it with the naked eye. So these are really major impacts, not just for the economy here locally, but also for tourism, fresh access to seafood, as well as the way of life for the families that live in this community. So we are proud of what we do in terms of fishing in the state of Florida. We lead the nation in the number of saltwater fishing anglers who enjoy our waters. We generate close to $10 billion for the state of Florida's economy annually. Also, dockside value of commercial fisheries is estimated to be $250 million annually, and that's the total estimated price of fish that is sold in the state of Florida. In response to recent damage, we've initiated the process of submitting a federal fisheries disaster declaration. If the federal government approves this declaration, it will unlock additional resources that can be directed to this area to help rebuild the important industry, including offshore, nearshore, and inshore fisheries. And so we are happy to do that. But we also know we got to do whatever we can and can't just rely on the federal government. So one of the things we're doing is I'm directing FWC to expedite their assessments from the impacts of the combined losses of Debbie, Helene, and Milton, to do everything possible to ensure success with this declaration. They're going to work in partnership with other state agencies to be able to get that done. And the way we say things is we have kind of Florida time where we want to get things done quickly, That's not how other levels of government in this country typically work, but I think that because we have that culture of rapid response, we've been able to get good responses from the federal government during this hurricane season. So we're hoping we're able to get that and expedite that as quickly as possible. Now, we have a lot of options for businesses where they can get support. And one of the things we do is we've unlocked the Florida Small Business Emergency Bridge Loan Program. Zero interest loans, very flexible repayment terms, $50,000 per business, but up to $100,000 for aquaculture small businesses, which I know is something that impacts this area. So that's something that we are proud to offer. We have great financial in Florida, so we have the ability to do that, and we're happy to do that. But in addition to this, just like we did after Hurricane Ian and Idalia, I'm announcing funding from the Florida Disaster Fund to be contributed to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Foundation to support the rebuilding of working waterfronts damaged by Hurricanes Helene and Milton. So we are going to contribute $1 million to the FWC Foundation to rebuild critical waterside infrastructure so business owners can get back up and working. And that has nothing to do with anything the federal government approves or doesn't approve. That money is in the bank, and that can be used immediately. In addition to that, the Fish and Wildlife Foundation will make an additional grant to supplement the $1 million that we're doing from the Florida Disaster Fund. These funds will go towards rebuilding of boat slips, repair of fish houses, financial assistance to aquaculture businesses, and other important infrastructure repairs for Florida's fishing economy across the Big Bend region. Over the past 2 hurricane seasons, these funds have made a difference for our fishing and aquaculture industries. After Hurricane Ian, 28 businesses received support from the fund, including financial assistance to repair seawalls, docks, and ice house coolers, freezers, and even funding to repair a shrimp boat. After Hurricane Idalia, funds supported 210 aquaculture businesses in the recovery process, including purchasing lost clam bags and clam seed and repairing docks. I'm also directing the Florida Department of Environmental Protection to utilize all available regulatory flexibility to expedite permits or approvals for businesses impacted on uplands or on the water to ensure rebuilding is done as quickly and efficiently as possible. Now, we also want to take this opportunity because we're here. This is an important industry for our state, but also an important pastime for so many people that not only live in Florida, but visit Florida to be able to be involved in some form of fishing. We have over 4 million licensed anglers. We are considered the fishing capital of the United States. Last year, we did a 50% discount on lifetime sportsman hunting and fishing licenses. This was the highest discount ever provided for recreational sporting license in the history of Florida. And through this initiative, we issued more than 75,000 gold sportsman license, generated $24 million in revenue, and more than 55,000 state park passes that generated $2.86 million for the state. Over 23,000 licensees were first-time license holders under this program. And so I'm excited to be able to announce a second year of these discounts for 2024 with a focus on family fishing opportunities. We will provide significant discounts on several fishing and hunting licenses, including lifetime licenses. So first, for Floridians wanting a short-term license, we'll cut those fees in half from October 25th to January 3rd for the annual and 5-year multi-sport licenses for fishing and hunting. For Floridians who want to get out and try their hand at fishing in our salt and freshwaters, FWC will sell a combined annual fresh and saltwater combo license for just $5. And finally, for kids up to 17 years of age, we'll once again provide 50% discounts for lifetime sportsman licenses. It makes a very good Christmas gift. Lifetime sportsman license up to 17 years of age 4 or younger, will be $200, normally $400. Ages 5 to 12, $350, normally $700. And ages 13 to 17, 500, which is normally 1,000. So please take advantage of that. We had a huge amount of interest and support for that last time. We want to make sure that we get the word out about that. Now, we also are working angles involving red snapper. So there is federal government restrictions on what people are allowed to fish, particularly in the Atlantic. We have, in recent years in the state, taken over management of the Gulf red snapper fishing season, and it was a priority for me when I became governor to expand the Gulf red snapper fishing season, because the federal data was not accurate in terms of the fish that were actually there. And you talk to people that actually are out there and they see all the fish. So we knew the data wasn't good. And so we've been working for many years to continue to expand. This year we were able to break the previous record of an 87-day Gulf red snapper season with a season of 103 days. This includes an increase in weekend days in September, October, and November, allowing anglers to enjoy snapper over the holidays. This is the longest combined Gulf red snapper season in the history of Florida since state management of Gulf waters began. However, due to long-standing federal regulations, fishers and anglers on Florida's Atlantic coast have only been able to fish for red snapper in federal waters off the Atlantic coast for 3 days total over the past 2 years, which is why I'm pleased today to announce that FWC has taken the first step towards managing our own red snapper season in the Atlantic through angler-driven data collection. From there, the data will support a full request to the federal government for the state of Florida to assume the management of the Atlantic snapper season. Doing so would mean even more economic opportunity for Florida's fishing industry as it recovers from recent storms. When D.C. doesn't get the job done, state of Florida steps up and does it right, and that's exactly what we will do in this circumstance. So I look forward to making progress on that, and I know that the data is going to be much more accurate that we're able to collect than what is currently being used. To have such a skimpy Atlantic snapper season, to have 3 days over 2 years in this massive ocean, you got to be kidding me. And we showed in the Gulf that it doesn't have to be this way. So let us handle Atlantic, and we would be able to provide many more opportunities for people throughout the state of Florida. So today's a good day. We're going to hear from some folks. First, let's present the check. So anyone that wants to come up and be a part of the check presentation, you guys get up here. We'll do a nice picture. 1 million macaroons right here. Okay, now we're going to hear from Roger Young from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Foundation, Conservation Commission.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Governor DeSantis. It's an honor to be here this morning in such a beautiful community and with such outstanding news to share with everyone. And on behalf of my chairman, Chairman Barreto, and all of our FWC commissioners, we are proud to participate in this historic announcement this morning. And this again in this great community, and what an astonishing gesture for all of our Florida fishing industry and our residents here in the state of Florida. First off, our hearts go out to all Florida families and residents that have been impacted by the recent hurricanes these past few weeks and months and years. Governor, your strong leadership during natural disasters has been displayed repeatedly throughout this state, and today is no exception to that. It continues, and we are so grateful and appreciative of your efforts under your leadership. And as we all know, our fishing resources are an economic engine for our state and for communities such as this one. And the sooner we help this community and other communities like this one rebound, the better it will be for everybody in Florida. Your commitment, along with that, with the Florida Disaster Fund and the Fish and Wildlife Foundation of Florida, is a step in the right direction to helping people get back on their feet. Our FWC staff from our Division of Marine Fisheries and myself have been visiting and meeting with those from the fishing industry that have been most heavily impacted up and down the west coast of Florida by these disasters. And I can tell you this, sir, they appreciate your efforts and your support that you're offering and giving to them to get back on their feet. But we've seen the catastrophic damage they've had to their facilities, and we've seen what has happened, and we've heard their needs, and we're working hard to restore them and get them back on their feet and get them back to work. FWC will continue to work with Department of Emergency Management and our state and local partners to clear access to boat ramps, to get back on the waterways, to help our people that work on the water get back to work. Our FWC law enforcement teams are also going to be out working hard with our partners to identify and remove displaced vessels from these storms. Reconnecting these displaced vessels with their owners and starting the removal process is extremely important to get our waterways back in operation. In addition, I want to thank you for your support for the license promotion that will provide more opportunities for Florida residents to enjoy fishing in the fishing and boating capital of the world. And I know from last year what a successful event that was, and we got a lot of phone calls after that ended hoping that they would do that again. So there's going to be a lot of pleased residents in the state of Florida when they hear this announcement that we're doing that discount again. So thank you, sir. And Governor, we appreciate all you do for Floridians and helping communities such as this one get back on their feet. Thank you very much. We're blessed to live in a state where you have such great leadership.
Okay, Mike and Kathy Beeren, owners of Gulf Seafood Products and Hernando Beach Seafood Company.
Hello, my name is Michael Beeren. I'm a third-generation commercial fisherman out of Hernando Beach. My sons are involved in our operation. We catch and produce our own stone crab, grouper, snapper. We've been doing it a long time. This hurricane season has definitely been stressful on all of us. It literally hit us within 2 days of us starting to throw our traps out. We stopped putting them out in fear of losing all of our gear. I just want to say that, Florida is, the seafood industry is the lifeblood of Florida, in my opinion, and, we do everything we can to produce this seafood, and we have, I'm just glad that we're able to do our operation here in the great state, or the free state of Florida, under a great governor, Mr. DeSantis. They've been behind us 110%. They've come out and checked on us right after the storm. We're trying to move forward. We've recently had some things going on in the crab industry, so the prices are down a little bit. I think that's probably to do with all the hurricane damage. So only thing I can say is thank you for your support, everyone, and please get out there and eat some crabs.
They say if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, well, he might become a commercial fisherman and feed you forever. My name is Catherine Beeren. My husband, Ronald Beeren, and I own Hernando Beach Seafood in Hernando Beach. It's a wholesale seafood company. We own 13 commercial boats. We own a marina that supports our commercial fishing industry in our area. And I'm honored today to be here to represent commercial fishermen on the coast of Florida that have been affected by the back-to-back hurricanes. Our fisheries are located along the coast of Florida, and because of that, a lot of damage was sustained, as you have heard from the others. We saw flooding, we saw devastating buildings that were collapsed, boats that were sunken, commercial boats, docks that were flipped over in the water, pilings that were broken off, boats that tried to go back out and ended up with pilings through their hulls and sinking that we had to quickly pull. It's been a real struggle. Yesterday, I got a phone call that the FWC was at my fish house. Now, to be honest with you, that wasn't quite the positive reaction. And the next thing they said is, no, they're here to help. And they were. They were truly here to help. When they came over there, they shook my hand and they asked if they could see the damage. Their hearts were in it. It was a beautiful thing. We walked through, we looked at all the torn out walls, all the devastation. We talked about our containers full of bait that had been flipped over on their sides, boats that had been sunken, all the loss that we had, and the loss that everyone's had along the coast, and all the struggles we've had in the seafood industry since. When we got over to the marina, we looked at our dock that had been up on the pilings during the first storm and then had flipped over into the water on the other, and luckily didn't take boats down with them. During the Hurricane Helene, my husband and I had gotten on one of our smaller boats, trying to keep all the commercial boats that were up on stands in our marina from drifting off and ending up on top of homes and out into all of our wetlands, where we were going to then have to try to survive having to get destroyed boats fixed. It was a really difficult process, but the people that were there with me, their hearts were in it. You could feel it. It was a really beautiful thing. At the end, we discussed about how long it was going to take to get help, maybe a year, year and a half. I kind of shook my head yes and said, I understand. I said, but we need help now. The people need help. Florida's fisheries need help. And I will tell you, they were listening. And you know why I know that? Because 7 hours later, the governor's staff called me. They said, could you be available tomorrow in Steinhatchee? He wants to meet with you. That's a governor that gets things done. And I am proud to say that I live in this state, this free state of Florida, where we have a governor who cares about the commercial fisheries. Our commercial fisheries are vital to Florida, not only for the people that are going to eat the seafood, but for our economy, for our tourism. I mean, who doesn't come to Florida to eat a grouper sandwich or have some oysters or some clams or some Florida spiny lobster? I mean, this is what Florida is about, is our fresh seafood. We are a fourth generation commercial fishing family. Fourth generation. This is not just a way to make a living, a job, but it's a way of life. It's a passion for the people that do it. The people that do this love their job, but it's hard work. And because of that, we have already become an endangered species as commercial fishermen. When this storm hit us, it put us in a very bad place. We needed help, and we need help now. It's not just for us, for the people that do it, for our job, but it's for all the people in Florida that deserve to have a plate full of fresh, local fish on their table. It's so that we don't have imports coming into our Florida restaurants, where we are surrounded by water, surrounded by the coast. And today, our governor, the best governor in the country, Ron DeSantis, is offering help to our Florida fisheries. And I am proud to say that I am a Floridian. Thank you all so much. I am honored to be here today to speak. And we thank you for all your help again. Ron DeSantis.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Okay, Charlie and Danelle Norwood, owners of the Sea Hag Marina.
Well, that's hard to follow with a speech. Very well said, I might say. This is my wife, Danielle. She and I have owned the Sea Hag for 27 years. Behind us, you'll see our family. And our extended family. We're so proud to have them. Leadership is where it starts. Quality leadership. With quality leadership, you get anything done. I'm so proud to have my commercial comrades beside me. All of you have made this possible. I want to thank you. We're hearing this together, and we look forward to getting it right together. I couldn't do it without every single one of you. But leadership, and what Governor DeSantis has done for us, is he has put practical in leadership. What are your challenges? What are your obstacles? Here are some options to get it done. And he's bestowed that in us. And by bestowing that in us, we have what we need to do it. We've got to do it. But knowing he's behind us, and he's shoring us up, and he's helping our county with the tools they need to shore us up. And he's helping us with all of our friends that shore us up. Sorry, it's been a long day. It's been a long month. But I want to thank everybody here, but it's leadership. So my wife and I, like all of you, got wiped out last year. We worked real hard, put it back together. Everybody got fishing again. We all share the same experiences. It's funny how we share the same experiences. We're all talking the same talk. Well, we're all leaders. We're all doers. We get up, put our boots on every day, go to work. It just gets better. And every single day that we work is a better day. And I challenge every one of you to get up, put your boots on, and go to work. And know that if you have a problem, there's people you can call. And he's made Roger available to bring us all together today. We thank you. And my wife and I, like so many of you, lost our income. And I was blessed with a dear friend of mine, Sammy Royal, from Cito. He introduced me to that man right there, Casey Skeeter. Good day. Casey's blessed to work for Ashbridge and work for the county. We got hired on to be debris cleanup people. That money that we'll make will make their lives whole behind you, and will make us a strong leader. We're going to get our marina open November 1st. And with us being open, we will help everybody else get open with the help of that man over there, Tom Willits. And we will reach out. And we thank you so much, but we thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So we are also in stone crab season, and that goes for how much longer?
May 1st.
Yeah, so mid-October to the beginning of May. So that's the time to do it. There's a lot of opportunities. I mean, obviously we've got a lot of great stuff that's served throughout Florida that comes from the sea, but that is a great pastime, and I know a lot of people are doing that throughout the states. So that's really, really good. And look, I mean, first of all, Helene, I mean, the storm surge was just incredible. There were people that survived Idalia with relatively modest damage that just had the entire thing wiped out. That's how much stronger this storm was in many respects. But you saw everybody was on deck, from the local community, the county, state, everyone working together. And now people think of Helene as just hitting North Carolina, as if it just kind of, went into North Carolina and never crossed. It hit Florida. We were the ground zero here. And then you had Milton, and so obviously that was a big one, and we had to ramp up for that. And so it was just interesting how kind of there was some focus on the Big Bend for maybe 24 hours after Helene. Then people started seeing, what was happening in western North Carolina. And quite frankly, there was some really heartbreaking scenes that were from there. And I don't think they got the help that they deserve. We sent people to help actually after a couple days, because we had our situation was stabilized from search and rescue. So you saw that. And yet we were still doing our thing down here in Florida. Like that was great to help. And then we did the Milton, and then there was the focus on Milton, and then that. But I think one of the reasons why we wanted to come is, one, we really want to support our fishing industry. We understand how important this infrastructure is. To be able to bring funds is really, really important. But we also just want to make clear that yes, there was Helene did a lot of damage to other states, and yes, we had a hurricane after Helene, Milton, but we have not at the state level forgotten what's happened to this part of the state with Hurricane Helene, and we will not do that. And so there's a lot we are doing, and there's a lot more we're going to continue to do to help the effort here. So I just would say, just as an observer who can look to see how things go in other parts of the country, how you've responded and the progress you've already made, that's not normal in terms of how this is done. This is very good progress. I know there's a lot more that needs to be done. We've been at the state level, we've wanted to help out with the water debris. I think that's really important to clean that up. And I know Kevin Guthrie has been working very hard on that in different parts of the state, actually. And we've also really charged hard on the overall debris. And you've seen a lot of debris around the state that's gotten moved and cleaned up quicker than what I think would normally do. We got a 90-day 100% reimbursement for Milton for debris removal, And so we now have on the website for Division of Emergency Management a debris tracker. How much did your city put in debris, or the county, or all this? We've got contractors. We want everybody all hands on deck, to get things cleaned up as quickly as possible. I think it's really important for recovery, for morale, and people want to get back on their feet as quickly as possible. We've also had a lot of great work from utility workers in both storms. Massive numbers of these guys coming in. Now, Helene, we had a lot. Which was a big deal, and they did a good job. I think that was like 2.4 million that had gone out that were restored, and I think that had been the fastest on record for that amount of people, and we appreciate that. But then Milton and a lot of the utility workers were in Georgia and in North Carolina and all these places. So we actually brought in over 50,000 linemen to Florida before Milton, but we had to bring them in from as far away as California and Alberta, Canada. We have these Canucks coming down helping out this. So it was, a massive effort, and you ended up doing 4.2 million power restorations after Milton. Now, Milton didn't hit as strong as Helene did, but it hit more parts of Florida's population. So it knocked out over 4 million people from power, and they were able to do 4.2 million in the fastest on record for a storm of that magnitude. And so those are things that really make a difference. It's never easy to have to deal with any of this stuff. You get damage, you lose things. Fortunately, in Taylor County, they worked hard to minimize the loss of life. But we did have loss of life in both storms, and it's a tragic thing. You also have a lot of people that maybe just get interrupted, but their homes aren't destroyed. We want to get them hooked up. We want to get everything back, clear the roads, get all the bridges open, get everything back, and do that very quickly. So I don't think anyone does it quicker than what we do in the state of Florida. We're proud of that. And it's not just us at the state. Look, I'm happy to kind of set the tone. I'm happy to issue the directives that need to be done. But you have a culture in Florida that is developed. When these things happen, you do have all hands on deck. All our state agencies, like whatever their role is normally, they do some storm-related function, and they're there. Department of Health, obviously emergency management, transportation, you name it, they're doing it. But even these, like the linemen on these companies, the electrical co-ops, they were the first ones to have total restoration after Milton. They brought in a bunch of linemen. That was not the case 10 years ago. It would drag on. I remember we had Hurricane Hermine. That was before I was governor, but that hit in northern Florida. You had people without power off of Category 1 in like Tallahassee for weeks. So there's been a great effort across the board to be able to respond very quickly. And as long as people see progress, I think it makes a huge difference with morale. People know it's not going to be easy, but if they see, people want to get this back and people are doing whatever they can, then it's like, you know what, let's get this job done. And so I think the $1 million today, and I know Roger, they're going to do more from their foundation to be able to help, with some of this marine infrastructure. But we're happy to do it. I think it's really important. I think to have this open on November 1st. First of all, the weather's gotten a lot better. It's a beautiful day. It's cooled off a little bit. Remember right after Helene, we maybe had one day where it cooled, and then it just got scorching hot. And that's not good when you're doing the rebuild. You want it to be a little milder. So it's starting to get mild. I think it's going to be a beautiful fall-winter season for us and into the spring. And we're going to continue to see progress. And that's really the name of the game. So I want to thank everybody that's been involved. I know people have been working really, really hard. We've had back-to-back. It's not easy to go through that. And I'm not saying that we don't have a lot more ahead of us, but I would take the people that responded to these two storms against anyone else in the country 7 days a week and twice on Sunday if I had to choose. So thank you all for what you've done. God bless. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.